Listen, the counseling lines are open. If you need it, listen. If you need an ear to just vent in, if you need a shoulder to lean on, if you need somebody to just tell you it's going to be okay, we're here for you this morning. James Hardy, Martin Houston, The Blitz, Hard Hitting Hour Sports Talk on the radio, 205-342-9904. Going to be a lot of emojis out there with a lot of tears running down their face because, as I said, Alabama got bammered. Here's what I want to say. I'm going to start this show off by telling you, let's not make too many excuses. Let's look at why we got beat, but let's also make sure we give that young man standing on the other sideline all the credit for him and his team. And we underestimated Clemson as fans. We underestimated Clemson as coaches. We underestimated Clemson as players. Dabo Swinney has faced Nick Saban 4 times, and 2 of them have gone to him and 2 have gone to Saban. And you could easily see a 3-1 flip on any of those. Of the 3 games, 2 of them, last year we outplayed them. I think we outplayed them for the majority of the game 2 years ago when we lost. But it was a tough one. But here's the thing. Let's make sure we give credit where credit is due. Dabo has consistently recruited at the same level as Alabama. Yep, he's recruited at the same level. He appears to coach at the same level. And did Alabama's greatness finally catch up with them? Someone put a note up that Dabo has had 3 coaching changes in the last couple of years. In the last 5 years, Nick Saban has had 20. Did that finally catch up with him? How big is it that those defensive linemen all chose to come back? How big is it that Justin Ross got out of the state? It's a lot there. But I had a couple questions I want to ask you. And, Tom, hold on. I'm going to get to you for your reaction in just a moment. And remember, listen, if you need a shoulder to cry on, someone to console you and tell you it's going to be okay, just if you just need to vent, 205-342-9904 is the Taco Casa hotline, and it's open for your business right now. Which was worse? Here's a couple poll questions out on Facebook. Which was worse? Was it the field goal, fake field goal by Saban, or the fake punt by Kirby? Which one was more shocking, James? This was the one that jumped in my head. Was it the Buster Douglas knockout, or was it the knockout that Alabama suffered last night? And here's the question, because this is what I'm going to talk about in all season. This question originates from something I have said for – actually, it was when I was doing Houston and Huber. Barry and Huber and I used to talk about what's going to happen when Alabama finds themselves in a situation in a season or in a game when they're not playing for a championship or that championship has been determined. Will they lay down and quit? Will they still show Crimson pride if they get behind, or if they're out of the running? What will happen? And so my question was, were you embarrassed with the way that game ended? Not the season necessarily, 14-1, nothing to hold your head down about. But the way we ended, and then letting them drive down the field 90-something yards to end the game, were you embarrassed by that as an Alabama fan? So we're going to be talking about that. I've talked about that crimson jersey needs to be the most important thing. I've talked about when I came to school here, I came to play for Alabama. I came to play for the Crimson Tide, and every time I stepped on the field, that was what I was driving for. We saw some guys last night. You may not like it, but you need to hear it. We saw some guys that right down that stretch, especially that last drive, that was playing for the NFL. But that's also why we have the great dominance that we have. It's because we have a lot of guys who come here because they know that Alabama is a stepping stone to the NFL. So you have to take the good with the bad. There's a lot to talk about, guys. I hear the defense getting dogged and defense getting blamed. You better throw some on the other side as well. Yes, defense got shellacked down the stretch and gave up 30 straight points, but somebody need to tell me, where was the game at when it was 16-14? We had stopped them twice on defense, but they also had 2 interceptions. And after that second interception by our quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, Alabama had nothing to offer offensively, defensively, or special teams, and apparently nothing to offer from the coaching staff in terms of adjustment and getting back in the game. I don't care if you get 5,000 yards. It only counts when you get points on the board. And Clemson, between the 20s, we looked like gold. But when we got to red zone, 3 turnovers on downs in the red zone. All right, let me go ahead and get to the calls because I got all off season. I got all off season to talk about this. Tom, you're in with the Blitz. What's on your mind, man?
I have to laugh, Martin. I was thinking, good morning.
Good morning. Good. How you doing, man?
I'm fine. Listen, that's what I was going to say. It's what I thought about. Here's the deal. 5 times in the red zone, 3 points.
Yeah.
2 turnovers, 14 points.
Yeah.
Back-to-back penalties, 7 points. Game over.
Yep.
Period.
Yep.
Period. Even with the mistakes, we get in the red zone, and what's been our MO all year is we've been able to score. One of the press deals yesterday ran the stats. We'd have been in the game. We could have overcome it. When you get in the red zone, it's just what you said. I was laughing when you said it. Yeah, I know all you other Alabama fans going to be mad at me for laughing. But, hey, guys, Martin's right. Everything he said, you get in the red zone, you're in the red zone 5 times, you come away with 3 points, you're not going to win a football game.
Yeah.
I think it is crazy that Alabama had 500 yards of offense last night between the 20s and walked away with 16 points.
Yeah.
Coaching, you're exactly right. Oh, and you asked all the questions. The stupidest play last night between that and Kirby's faking it, it was the fake field goal. I'd rather had Jalen in there or Tua in there.
Yeah.
And let's run a play. It's 4th and 5. Let's go for it with purpose.
Yeah.
There was no purpose in that play.
Yeah, was it really supposed to be it looked as bad, like the execution of it was as bad. You got Mac Jones running a fake. Really? Yeah. You took what most thought, especially Bama Nation, you took the best quarterback in the history of your program and the best quarterback in the country potentially, and you took him off the field.
Yeah,
your running game was getting 7-8 yards a clip. You take him off the field.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly right. So I mean, you took away a chance. You wasted it down. It would be just like at the end of the game, and we're looking at the clock, and you're in victory formation, and we got to kill some time. And that's what they did. They killed time on that play.
Yeah.
And as far as the coaching goes, and I sent an email to a buddy of mine this morning. The one thing about this is I appreciated what Tua said. He said, "Good's not good enough." And that's going to be our mantra. Never back Nick Saban in a corner.
Yeah.
He's in a corner. He's going to come out. I'd hate to be the coaching staff today. I really would.
Yeah. I
would hate to be the coaching staff today. And he knows who did their job.
Well, the problem is, as good as Locksley was, I'm going to have to question how many – I don't – this is the part that's sometimes hard. How much of we're getting 10 yards a pop, okay?
Right.
First of all, the first interception is Tua Tagovailoa. We can call that great defense all you want. Tua pulled that ball on an RPO. What's his name was blocking.
Yeah.
The guy that intercepted the ball was Devontae Smith's man. And and Kirby and all those guys on ESPN talking about how he tricked him and set him up. No, he didn't. Go back and watch that play. Devontae Smith went to block him.
That's right.
And Tua pulled it instead of giving it to the running back. And when he pulled it, the guy jumped him. Now, Robert Saucier, he hadn't been on here yet this morning. He said, Tua is so good at pre-reading. Will Clemson be able to take advantage of that because he predetermines, because he's great at something? Can they take advantage of it similar to what Georgia did? And I say yes. I mean,
a lot of people doesn't listen to what Robert Saucier says, but he really knows this game, and he really understands this offense. And everybody can say Pierce Fokker was so inconsistent this year. I don't even know how our offensive line got nominated for Offensive Line of the Year. And we missed Big Brown last night like no tomorrow.
We missed him on the pass game, but I think the running game, was not the problem. The running game, James, come in on this, and Gregory, hold on. James and I off air said, Tom, we ran the ball and we run it. We get 10 yards, be at the 40. We get 10 yards, be at the 50. We get 12 yards. We were getting first downs per run, and then we would get across the 50 into plus territory, and we would call
even worse, fellas, we'd get inside the 30 in the extended red zone where you got to be able to run the ball, and we start throwing it.
Yeah. So, all right. Yeah. Tom, I appreciate you, man.
Hey, brother, I appreciate you, too. And listen, thanks for opening up every day with Scripture, because you know what? If you're walking with the Lord, the sun's always going to shine somewhere, someplace in your life.
Absolutely.
Hey, Alabama fans, it's not the end of the world.
It's not.
I just really hate to be around when spring practice starts. Oh, God.
Oh, well, I got a strange feeling the offseason is going to be right in Tuscaloosa. All right, thanks, Tom.
Thanks.
All right, Gregor, hold on. We'll get with you on the other side of the break. Gregor, we'll get to you. Thanks for being a part of Blitz. Hey, listen, if you need a shoulder to cry on, you need someone to vent to, you want to agree or disagree with anything that's being said, you can call 205-342-9904. Taco Casa hotline is open for business. Bama got bammered, meaning that we took the knockout blow much like Buster Douglas did to Tyson, or maybe, just maybe, Clemson wasn't chasing Alabama after all. I said, is there a gap between Bama and Clemson and the rest of college football, or is it Bama gap, Clemson gap? After last night, it may be Clemson gap, Bama gap. Hey, I'm just being real. I love Alabama football. I love the Crimson Tide, but I'm also a realist. We got shellacked last night in every aspect of the game, and let's critique. 500 yards, 1,000 yards means nothing if they don't result in points, and that's what happened to Alabama last night. Hey, you can talk about it right here on the Blitz on Tide 102.9 and 100.9. Here's what Dabo Swinney has done. 4 years, 2 titles, and by the way, that class, going into that game, Alabama had one more win than that Clemson class, James, and one more national title. But with that win, that class surpasses Alabama because they won 55 games. I think they lost 4. And they won 2 national titles and, James, 4 ACC titles. Alabama's senior class only had 3. So it was that senior class. And that senior class made the decision. A lot of those guys came back to face Alabama in the playoffs. They gave up money. Now think about that, James. One group of players out there was playing because they came back to play for the orange and white. Another came to Alabama to get to the league, maybe, maybe not. It's just interesting. There's no excuse for what happened. Ryan, that was Ryan Fowler. For those of you on Facebook I was talking to, he said that's what you call one of those old take you behind the shed butt whoopings. And that's what we got. So let's be real. Let's talk about it. Let's get all the pain over with. Let's not hide anything. 205-342-9904. The Blitz counseling line is open. 205-342-9904.
By the way, Martin, as of 6:03, Ryan Fowler has officially made it back to Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, he was just landing. He had just got landed and got back here and everything. Listen, if you're wondering why I'm smiling, because I just can't. Guys, by the time that game was over, the shock was done. I mean, we got so soundly beat last night in every phase of the game, offensively, defensively. Special teams may have been a tie. Gregory, thanks for your patience. What's on your mind, man?
Man, I love this show, man. Man, you taking my thunder, and you talk to Ryan Fowler, your buddy.
Yeah.
Man, listen. You remember now, we're going to have a lot to talk about this summer.
Yeah, we got it, unfortunately.
Man, listen. We got to take the good with the bad.
Yes, right.
Okay, let me start out saying both sides stink. I'm for real. I'm like Clemson with Bama. Bama look like Clemson.
Yeah.
Hold on, Mark.
We got bammered. Bammered.
Listen, you told everybody that Clemson had a weakness in the defense somewhere. I want to ask you where it was. Hey, man, go help me.
It was in the secondary. It was in the secondary.
I can't tell. I can't tell.
Hey, but you know what? Yeah. It was a weakness in the secondary, but I was shocked by the ability to run the ball. If you go back and look, we could have ran the ball all night.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Greg, you haven't. Hey, you know what we're doing, Gregory. You know what we're doing, right? We're laughing so much because you ever seen anybody be uncomfortable and they start laughing because they're so uncomfortable?
Right.
That's what we are as a Bama Nation. Well, what happened?
Right now.
Oh God, you got anything else for me, Gregory? Go ahead, man.
Y'all got a lot for you. Y'all listen here. Y'all please listen to the show this summer because, like we've been saying. Anytime I'm going to go across a good deal, the SEC was that down, Mark. The SEC was that down that tricked us, thought we had the best offense in the world. Oh, no, what the word we were saying this season? The best offense that Nick Saban ever had.
Yep, that's what we said.
That's what we said, didn't it?
Yeah.
The SEC was that down that they tricked us to believe that we was unstoppable. Listen, we thought we had a super team, but Clemson had the kryptonite. Hold on, Polly. Y'all ain't. Hold on, Polly. Y'all can't go that far. Y'all cannot go that far. You
Gregory, you need to
help me, Mark, because I told you I need counseling.
Yeah. Well, Gregory,
Lord have mercy.
It was a sound whooping, offensively, defensively. Hey, man. God.
Let me say this. I'll let you go, Mark.
Okay, go ahead.
Man, I thought they didn't make no machine that can go in somebody's mind and debobulate their brain, because our coaching staff was lost.
You too.
No, was lost.
Huh?
No. We got to do an investigation on that.
Yeah. It looked bad.
Yeah.
It looked bad. And
it was worse.
The play calling was bad. But the execution was even worse.
Well, it worse.
Yeah, it was worse. All right.
I'm going to get beat up. All right, man. I'm going to get beat up today.
All right. Thanks, Gregory. All right, Cliff, you're in with the Blitz. What's on your mind, man?
Good morning, Martin.
Good morning.
Yeah, I've been an Alabama fan since 1973.
Okay.
And I'm 54 now, going on 55. I started cheering for the time I was around 9 years old. I think one lesson that we all can learn as Bama fans from this experience is going forward, we should stop asking questions such as, is this the greatest Alabama team ever? As we did with this current team. All of the Crimson Tide teams have thought to uphold what the Tide represents. And this game clearly showed it was not the greatest Bama team ever, as many believed throughout the league. And this is one point I want to make. I remember, I think it was during the Alabama game versus Georgia. there was an analysis by Gary Daniels regarding Tua, and he said one thing Tua needs to learn when he's going deep, every play cannot be a touchdown.
Yep.
And he's a great player. He's phenomenal. But personally, I feel like the young man has become reckless back there with that football.
Yeah. You have to take what the defense gives you. I told some people last night because I started getting the whole, well, the defense was atrocious. I said, let's put some of this. This game flipped. As great as Tua's been, this game flipped on 2 plays. At halftime, Alabama was losing by 2 scores, and one was the pick 6, and the other one, we were driving the ball effectively, just running. Najee having a great game. Jacobs having a great game. Harris having a great game. And we tried to get it all, to your point, on one play. And from that touchdown that interception where they caught it and ran it back about 30-something yards, from that point on, we did not score again, and they scored 30 consecutive points. It flipped, and you can't do both. You can't say Tua's great and then not give him any responsibility. We just watched the quote-unquote best offensive team in Nick Saban's era get beat by 30 points, and we're going to say that's because the defense gave up 30 straight points, where our offense failed to score for almost three complete quarters. So it's on both sides of the ball.
It was, and I'd like to make this final point.
Go ahead.
I don't know what the safety is important for thinking about that.
Repeat that now?
I don't know what those Alabama safeties were thinking about last night. It was like they were not even in the game. It was like if a Clemson receiver got a touchdown, there was nobody back in the safety position who was going to stop him. I've never seen that. And I think this is the first performance I feel like Alabama just quit on defense. I feel like they just laid down and quit.
Yeah. Hey, Cliff, I think we're losing you, but I'll repeat what you said. Thanks for calling, Cliff. Call back anytime. That was Cliff saying that he believed that the DBs quit. He don't know what they were looking at. We got Linda wanting to talk about Tua and Bama versus Clemson reaction. Linda, you're in with the Blitz. What's on your mind?
Well, what's on my mind is that the Alabama fans, primarily the Ryan Fowler show and all those callers that praise Tua every day, put him on this big mountain alone. He's the greatest ever. He's the second coming. He's the most wonderful player ever. He's a young player who's going to make mistakes. He made a lot of mistakes last night. They waited too late to put Jalen in.
Yeah.
They waited too late. It was poor coaching and awful playing by the players. But the coaching was horrible as well.
Can't disagree with that.
They got outplayed. They got outmanaged. They got out everything last night by Clemson. Mm-hmm. Now, is Dabo the second coming? I'm not going to put Dabo up on that Mount Moore either. I'm not putting him up there just yet either. But the fact is, the Alabama fans have ruined Tua. He's listening to his press. He forces the ball. He panics when he can't get what he wants, and he forces the ball because he's the great Tua. And if he can't pass it in there to those receivers under double coverage, nobody else can. You guys have ruined him. You have simply ruined him with the praise, how great he is. And it's hard for a young man not to believe that. I'm not faulting him. I'm faulting the fans because you've ruined him.
Well, hopefully he can recover.
Tua.
Yeah.
Tua.
So
that's all you heard with the times that I've been here and listened. That's all I heard. How great Tua was. How bad Jalen was. That's all I heard. I think Alabama fans got what they deserved last night.
We got bammered. We got what we usually give.
Well, and you deserved it.
Are you not a Bama fan now?
I will always be an Alabama fan.
Okay, all right.
But I'm a different Alabama fan from the rest of you. I'm a realist.
So we're not a
realist.
realist because we gave Tua praise?
What I'm saying is you overpraised him. It's one thing to say he's a great player. It's another thing to say it 24/7. There are a lot of great players on that field last night who lost a good game that they should have won.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about the fact that, I mean, I praise the guys, whoever deserves to be praised, and I
everybody deserves praise when they do something well. What I'm saying, you can overdo it in your praising.
Well, I guess the question we need to hope for as Bama Nation is that we all Bama fans pick up the phone and call Clemson radio stations and praise Trevor Lawrence because
no. If I knew how to get into, I would call them and tell them how well the entire team performed. Not only Trevor Lawrence.
I was talking about to mess him up for next year. I was talking about to overpraise him. Alabama fans need to overpraise Trevor Lawrence. He's not going to listen to what
the Alabama fans say. He's going to listen to what the Clemson fans say.
Oh, they're saying the same thing about him that we're saying.
Our players listen to what you people say, how great Tua is. They waited too late to put Jalen in the game.
I can't disagree with that. I cannot disagree with that. We needed to change up last night as much as we needed to change up last year. Because they're so high and mighty on the great Tua. But that was Coach Saban.
They made.
That was Coach Saban.
I don't say anything about it. Do you ever hear me overpraising Coach Saban?
No.
I call it the way I see it. I'm a realist. I live in the real world.
You said
I call it the way I see it.
You said they. I was saying that Coach Saban is the one that makes that decision. He didn't do it. There was an
offensive coordinator over there who could have said, "Coach, I think we need to take him out."
That's what I'm saying. I thought you were saying the fans waited too late.
And if Coach said no, then it is on Saban. But there's a whole coaching staff over there. There's Loxley is the offensive coordinator. He could have said, "Tua's not on tonight. Let's take him out."
Yeah. Well, hey, Linda, it's 6:32. I got to get the break, but I want to make sure you get the closing words.
No, I was just going to say. Because he was saying what you wanted to hear.
No, listen. You can hang on if you want to. I was just saying I have to go to break.
I'm not going to hang on. You can go to your break, but you all have ruined Tua.
Okay.
You ruined him.
All right.
He thinks he's the second coming because you all think he is.
All right.
But he isn't.
All right.
That young man, that freshman, outplayed the sophomore.
Yep.
Have a great day.
All right. That's Linda telling us we ruined Tua. Let's hope that Tua can rebound from the praise. And then the other part is I want all Alabama fans to pick up the phone, call in and pretend that you're a Clemson fan and say, Trevor Lawrence is the greatest because you as a fan have the ability, and there's some truth to what she's saying. There is some truth to it. You have the ability to ruin a college football player, at least for one game. I think Tua Tagovailoa will be back. I think Tua Tagovailoa did statistically what's never been done at Alabama, but I also think that he faced and made some mistakes last night that cost his team. Caller X, hold on. Sean, hold on. We'll get to you immediately coming out of the break. Thanks for being a part of the Blitz. A month and a half ago, if we don't win a national title, how do you feel about this season? The question I have is, did we see the cracking of a foundation last night? James, are we ready to come back and compete next year? Because what I saw last night was Nick Saban may not be fully ready to coach an offensive-led team. I mean, defense couldn't respond last night, and the offense couldn't get it back going. So
are we possibly saying then, Martin, that Nick Saban may be out of his comfort zone when it comes to coaching-wise? Overall style of football then? In the overall style, I think last night showed that he's not as comfortable as we thought when he's going against a team and his defense can't respond. It seemed like the team kind of went downhill after a couple of key plays. And here's something, and we're just going to talk about this, and I'm going to get the caller X here immediately, but was Loxley locked in? We hadn't talked about the fact that the play caller last night was Maryland's head coach. And did it catch up with us finally? Caller X, you're in with the Blitz. What's on your mind?
Martin, I was thinking the whole while during the game, that's how I felt about the offensive coordinator. And, I probably was one of the only Alabama fans that was I never really liked him the whole season anyway, because I always, the offense would be doing so well during the game, and then all of a sudden he just started calling weird plays to kind of knock their momentum, but the teams will be so good they'll get back on track.
Right.
Kind of saw that last night. We were running the ball well with Josh Jacobs. Anytime Josh Jacobs is in the lineup, that offense seems like it moves better, it flows better. Then all of a sudden, they take him out, bring in Najee, start throwing different pass plays or
right
down in the red zone. I felt that Josh Jacobs should have been down in the red zone. I just didn't think he did a great job as a offensive coordinator.
How do you have a wildcat and have a quarterback in and you call a quarterback sweep?
And he have done that when Tua was hurt. Running Tua a few times.
Yeah.
in the game. And all season, I always thought in my mind, I didn't really care too much for Lane Kiffin, but I wondered what he would have done with this offensive talent. What he would have done with Tua, what he would have done with these wide receivers, and it would have been nowhere in the world that I thought that he would have lost that game last night with the way he set up his offenses and the game planning that he came with. He just had bad personality problems,
Yeah, he did. He's a great. One of the things that I've never said he was a great quarterback developer, but the one thing he is great at is maximizing his offensive players' talent. And there's a lot of it on Bama to only get 16 points.
Because Lane Kiffin would have found a way to get the ball to Jalen Waddle all year. He would have found a way to get that guy part of that offense. This guy is really talented. I know Alabama has a lot of talented offensive players, that do just fine. But I believe that Jalen Waddle could have been an X factor in a few games that we played. And I'm starting to see a trend that every time we get into a championship game, our team plays poor. And the last time we won a national championship when we were just straight dominant is when we played
LSU.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, yeah.
But after that, it seems like we struggle. We had to come from behind. We got to do some type of miracle. We got to do this. We got to do that. And it just seems to catch up with us. And I can officially say that this is probably not the best defense that Nick Saban has had in his era. The defensive line was not dominant all year long. They had one dominant person,
right?
Raekwon Davis. I don't see what contribution he had, but just taking up a spot.
Yeah,
clogging up a spot.
he did go down from what he did last year. Hey, caller X, one last thing for you. You say you just brought up a point. We've had 4 national title games in a row. Which one did we play well in? Just think about that for a second.
Not one.
We won. We've won 2 of them, but which one did we play well in? So, and it all came back last night. Hey, I got a couple other callers. Thanks for calling. Call back anytime, man. That was some good insight.
All right, roll tide.
Roll tide, thanks. All right, Sean, thanks for your patience. You're in with the Blitz. What's on your mind, man?
Hey, Martin, first-time caller, long-time fan.
I appreciate you, man. Thanks for calling.
All right, brother. First of all, I don't believe anybody's mentioned this morning the absence of Milner.
You don't Christian Miller, on the defense?
I knew when he was not able to go, that was going to hurt our defense a whole lot. And I want to say, I got a sore throat this morning. Excuse me. I think I may have hollered at my TV last night a little bit.
That's okay.
But before we name the second coming of I call him Long Hair or Avatar. He looks like the Avatar guy.
Yeah.
The quarterback from Clemson. Listen, guys, we putting zero pressure on him. If we would have had Milner, and I don't like to make excuses, if we would have had Milner, it would have been a different ball game. He wouldn't have been sitting back there throwing to those receivers. We wouldn't have had a defensive back get injured on a touchdown play. But let me break it down right quick. Of course, the red zone woes. We were on the 1 yard line twice. The first time we got too cute.
Yep.
Got a penalty. That was, I mean, our offensive, our defense and offensive play calling last night was the worst I've ever saw in a championship game.
Yep.
The stars was not lined up for us. All right, the red zone woes, of course, the picks, the early pick, man, that was just a great defensive scheme. Hats off to the defensive coordinator for Clemson.
Hey, Sean, but go back.
That was a scheme right there.
But go back and look. No. That was a run play that Tua pulled the ball on. Go back and look. What's his name? Devontae Smith was blocking. He was not running a route. Go back and look.
I didn't check it out.
Yeah. Go back and look at it. Okay, the next time they show it, Devontae Smith is going to block him. It was still a good team because they brought a blitz off the edge and dropped back and what they thought was man, and it was zone. But the guy just made a great play. But what I was going to say, though, is when he went to block him, it caused the guy to look where? Into the backfield. Okay? Right. When he looked into the backfield, he sees one receiver blocking. He looks into the backfield, and he sees Tua ready to pass it. So that's why he jumps it, because his receiver is doing what?
Yeah.
His receiver's blocking. If his receiver was running a route of any sort, he doesn't jump it. But when he sees that there's one receiver running a route in front of him, his guy's trying to block, he knows it's an RPO, and he jumps the route. And it was a great play by him, but everybody keeps saying with the scheme, that was no faking in that scheme. That was Tua pull the ball and because that receiver read what was happening, I mean, DB, he jumped it. So go back and look at it, though. I mean, you see it.
I've got it recorded. I will take a look at it, but I believe you. I trust your knowledge. But, the 2 picks hurt us.
Yeah.
The second pick, a caller said earlier, and that's what makes Tua. He's kind of a Brett Favre. He's a gunslinger.
Yeah, he is.
That's why he threw 42 touchdowns this year. He's one.
Yeah.
But at that point,
we were
running the ball. We were kicking their tail.
Yep.
You know, you look at time of possession, except for that fourth quarter when they held it for 10 minutes, we had time of possession. We were running the football on them. Anytime we get over 140 yards, they said it last night, we're like 55-4 or something, some crazy number. We were doing everything except sticking it in the end zone. And the red zone woes call. Anytime you play an elite team, they've not ran off from us. But when you play an elite team and you make a few mistakes, you get beat by 28.
Yep.
You get beat by 28. Next year, hey, Alabama fans, look, next year, Part 5, guess what Tua is going to do over the summer?
Hopefully he's going to get better.
Throw those picks. He's not going to make the freshman mistakes. We're going to have cornerbacks that are not true freshmen. You know, we had some young corners, young DBs, and hopefully we'll get a pass rusher in.
Yeah,
I'm sure we've got one coming.
We signed a few, but they're gonna be young. Hey, Sean, I appreciate you calling. Man. Call back anytime. Go ahead.
You got other
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. Nick Saban's done the best job of coaching. Of course, he's still the greatest. But one thing he's done is he has kind of changed with the times. One last thing I think he needs to do is play more zone against teams that have a running quarterback, because that's where we got hurt with running quarterbacks and quarterbacks we have great receivers. It's hard to man up a first rounder.
Yeah.
At 6'4", with that kind of speed and that kind of wingspan.
Yeah.
Anyway, Tide fans, we're going to win it next year. We'll be fine. Everybody, this ain't the end of the world.
Yeah.
Martin's just trying to sell some tickets to the show.
All right.
Hey, we love you, brother. Love what you're doing. Hey, I'm a Cherokee County native. I got to watch you play for real.
I appreciate
the ones that
you, man.
don't know about him, didn't know him in high school. He was this man. Anyway, y'all have a great day. We'll get better from here.
All right. Thanks, Sean. All right. Hey, we got to get to a quick break here, Kenneth. Let me go ahead and get Kenneth, and then hey, Kenneth, thanks for your patience. I'm going to go ahead and get you before the break.
Hey, man, it's first-time caller.
Go ahead, man.
Just wanted to hit on a couple things. A few callers ago, they was talking about Jalen. They should have put him in sooner. completely disagree with that. I really feel like, the first 20 minutes of the game, if you look at what all unfolded, I know the pick six hurt and all that, but it took 20 minutes for Trevor Lawrence to even get anything going, realistically.
Yeah, and nobody talks about that. His first 3 possessions, he was we got him off the field 2 of the first 3 times.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing is Tua, I mean, we all know how good he can be. He had like 221 passing yards in the first quarter, I think, something close to that. And we go right down the field, but we shoot ourselves in the foot. Realistically, what happened in the first half is, and I hate to make excuses, but all the breaks that could have went any way went Clemson's way.
Yep.
And kind of dug ourselves into a hole. Yep. Also, if you look at the roster, we played without Terrell Lewis, we played without Chris Allen, we played without Deontay Brown, we played without Trevon Diggs, and we played without 3 pass rushers last night, including Christian Miller. So, that's 5 starters that we basically played without last night as well. Yeah. Hopefully, most of those guys will be back next year.
Yes.
And a lot of those pass rushers still played a big part in the game, especially down the stretch.
Yeah. Yep. It's a tough one, Kenneth, but, will Bama be back? That's the question. So, and we got to wait till all next year to see that.
Yeah, and it's always, everybody always wants to rush to judgment, say the dynasty's dead. They said that after they lost to Ole Miss a couple years ago.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of a wait-and-see type thing. I feel like it's kind of crazy the last 2 times we lost to Clemson. We had a generational defense. Now we have a generational quarterback. Couldn't get it done either time.
Right.
But the 2 times we did beat them, it was just one of those back-and-forth games in 2015. And then last year we dominate them, and all the headlines were saying Tua was ready to come in, and it just didn't dictate him coming in that game. But, anyways, generational quarterback comes in at halftime last year and saves it for us. Speaking of, one last thing.
Go ahead.
Everybody's talking about Trevor Lawrence being the first freshman quarterback to win the national championship. I know there's kind of an asterisk for me with Tua coming in at halftime last year. So
yeah.
I just hang up on that and roll tide.
Thanks, Ken. Appreciate you. Gary, hang through the break. We'll get you immediately, and you'll close out this post-national championship defeat edition of the Blitz.
Martin Houston, this is Gator Man.
Gator Man, what's up, man?
Man, it feels so good this morning.
Florida on top of the world, gonna take down Kirby next year, and Bama loses. You had a good Christmas and a great New Year, didn't you?
Oh my God, and it's starting off so great.
How can I end the show with a Gator fan? Come on, go ahead, Gary.
Now, let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Had this score been the same on the other side, y'all would have said it was the Alabama beat down.
It was a Clemson beat down.
It was a Clemson beat down. Thank you very much.
Who said that wasn't a Clemson beat down? Now, we got some reasons they beat us down. We could have did some things differently, but they beat it. We didn't just do that because we went into that game to do it. We did it because of what they did.
Yeah, they defense coordinator had a game plan for y'all guys.
Yeah. Yep. But we could have ran the ball.
I don't know what Dabo said to his I guess that was his secondary coach. But he told him to do your job.
30 seconds. Yes, he did. He was telling the official because the official missed the call.
Okay.
Yeah, but when he told him to do your job. Yeah. You got about 20 seconds. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
Okay, guys. Well, I'm just happy. And anybody that got tired of Alabama for all these years, you got your wish.
You're too funny.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Gator. Take care, man. That's Gator, man. Gary, thanks for calling the Blitz, bro. Bro thought. All right. Hey, as we wrap up this edition, hey, I need to correct. It appears that I misread Devontae Smith. He was blocking, and therefore I just looked at that play, thought it was a run play, but it looks like when I went back and looked at it that it actually was a pass play, but he didn't do a good job of blocking. So maybe it was supposed to be some type of quick block screen or something. But either way, Tua pre-read it, jumped on it, didn't look out there again to see what was happening. And that changed the game, set the momentum for the game and the direction for the game. Alabama got bammered last night. Will they be able to be back? Will they return? Will the losses hurt? Larry Miller asked the question, will this Alabama defensive front, Quentin Williams, Raekwon Davis, do what the Clemson guys did? We got a long offseason, guys, but we'll get to it.